All right, Cubs. Hi, welcome. We're ready to do some more learning. So this next unit is focused on something that you've learned for a while and you've definitely heard about, and it is called probability. I could have said you probably have learned about this already. So today, the first part, well, not today, this first video will just be kind of about the basics of probability. We'll get out some terminology. We'll outline different types of probability. We'll talk about the word events, outcomes, that kind of stuff. And then it'll get deeper as the videos go on. So our first one is called Intro to Probability. And I got some feedback that I love. I love getting feedback. That after I write the notes, I should move my hand. So it allows you guys time to pause and copy. So I'm going to try my best to do that, okay? Anytime you have feedback for me on this, if you shoot me an email, or remind or whatever you feel comfortable doing, I would love to listen. Oh, look, I found an old school Cub coin. Or is this year's? I don't know. I found a Cub coin in my little cute bag that I got from a kiddo. So, all right, let's get started. So, intro to probability. This is going to be our first one. Okay. Intro, that stands for introduction. Intro to probability. I'm gonna draw my notes. Okay, give you time to write that down. Okay, our EQ is going to be, we'll say, what does probability mean? And so what does probability mean? And what is the difference between experimental and theoretical probability? Theoretical probability. Okay, so I'll give you, I'll again move my hand so you can write that down, okay? Got some funky hair. Definitely why I'm wearing a hat today. The hair is got a mind of its own today. Looking a little silly. Oh, guys, I've had this NASA sweatshirt since I was in 7th grade. I thought I'd show you. I went to space camp when I was your age. I was a total nerd, and this was a sweatshirt. Instead of buying the one at the space camp store because they were like $80, my mom bought me just like a Hanes sweatshirt and then bought me patches to put on it. So she saved like $60 by going the old school way, and it's cool because it's homemade. So this is my NASA sweatshirt. Okay, because I wanted to be an astronaut. All right, so let's get started on probability. So probability, there's a scale, and we'll define it, but let's talk about the scale of probability, okay? Let's talk about the scale of probability. We have probabilities that can go from on a scale of 0 all the way to 1, okay? Something that has a probability of 0 happening means it has a 0% chance of occurring, which means it is impossible. Okay, so 0 out of 0 times or 0 out of 1 times that can happen. Okay, so something that has a 0% chance of probability is rolling a dice and getting a 7. It's impossible. It happens 0 out of the 6 times. Picking a day of the week that starts with Q. 0 out of 7 start with Q. Let's think the probability of picking a month without a vowel in it. Every month has a vowel in it. Impossible things are things that cannot happen. On the other side of that spectrum, something with a probability of 1 is 100% chance going to happen. Okay, so instead of being impossible, it is called certain. And it will happen 1 out of 1 times, 1 whole, all the time. Okay, that's like when you flip a coin, getting heads or tails. Either or will happen. Okay. Another thing is when you pick a state in our country, it will have a vowel in it. I always use that because vowels happen a lot. If you could say the probability that and the number 8 is divisible by 2 it's certain. That's not necessarily probability, but it's just saying things that will always happen. Now, in the middle of that spectrum or scale, okay, and the spectrum is another word for scale, is things that are equally likely and equally unlikely, okay? So it's kind of like 50-50, okay? So we are going to call that a 50% chance, okay? Equally likely, okay? And that happens 1 out of 2 times. Okay, something like that would be if you were to roll a dice, how many times you get an even number, because you have a 2, a 4, and a 6 out of a total of 6. 3 out of 6 reduces to a half. Something like flipping a coin and landing on heads. Okay, so that is what would be half. I'm going to pause real quick. I need to stop.